Okay, for this project you're going to need your air dry clay, your rolling pin, spray bottle, newspaper, and bowl. We're going to be using the bowl as a mold for our air dry clay. Start by taking your clay and wedging it. The heat from our hands is going to make the clay much easier to roll out. We also will push out any air bubbles that may be trapped inside the clay. Take your rolling pin and spread out the clay as wide as you can make it. Every couple rolls, lift it and flip it. Lift and flip, lift and flip. It's important to test out the clay every once in a while to make sure it's big enough to go over the bowl. Not quite yet. Needs to be a little bigger. Once your clay is big enough, it's time to use our mold. Cover your bowl in newspaper. Any exposed plastic of the bowl is going to stick to the clay. The newspaper will be a barrier. I like to wet it just a little bit to make it more malleable. Dampen the newspaper with your sponge and cover it with the clay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make a cut along the clay and fold the clay over. This will help the clay sit just a little closer next to the bowl. Make a cut and fold over. After we do this a couple times, we're going to smooth out those seams. I'm going to use the metal rib, then the sponge. Make sure that your whole surface is damp. It'll help the clay blend together. Repeat this for each of the seam. Once done, you want to trim off any excess that you have along the bottom of your bowl. This might take a little bit of patience and practice, but in the end we'll have a nice smooth surface to press our objects into. Once you have scraped and blended the surface together, it's time to start making our impressions. What you want to do is you want to take your object in one hand and your stamp in the other and press it into the side of the bowl. I like to press it and give it a little wiggle so it makes a nice clean imprint. If you don't like your imprint, you can just scrape it away and try again. See, we have our stamps. Now let's say you don't have enough time to finish this whole bowl in one sitting. Next, we're going to talk about how to save this project from one day to the next. The air dry clay will dry in the air, so we need to protect it by covering our whole project in wet newspaper. I spray it with my mist bottle, wrap the sheets of newspaper around it, and then spray again. I repeat this for the entirety of my bowl, making sure each layer of newsprint is wet, but not soaking. Finally, after the whole thing is covered, we're going to put it in a plastic bag and then give a couple extra sprays on the inside of the plastic bag. Wrap the whole thing up twisting it in the opening and tucking it underneath. This should keep our project nice and wet for the next few days. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know, and I look forward to seeing your bowl when it's all done.